Welcome to the Southeastern Recruiting Show. My name is Brian Smith, and in this edition, we are going to feature quarterbacks from the class of 2024 in Florida, Alabama, and Georgia. I've got several prospects here that I want to talk about, but if there's somebody that you want to discuss, comment about it, and let's hear why. What do you like about the players I talked about? Do you think somebody's better? Is there an attitude towards a certain type of player, whether it's a run-pass guy, a pure pocket guy? Do you really like a dual threat? Whatever it is, please let me know. Like, share, and subscribe to this podcast and hit that notification bell. So without further ado, the first player I'm going to talk about is Prentiss Air Noland. This is a kid that I think is tremendous, and he has an opportunity to be really great at Ohio State. So a few of the things that you need to know about Prentiss are this. Last year alone, keep in mind, these are the stats that I'm going to go over. 55 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, state championship, 4,095 yards passing. Look at those stats right there. 792 points scored. Props to Langston Miles, and that's a great photo right there. They won the state championship, their first in Georgia history. The first thing that I would say I like best about him is just rhythm. Whether you see him throw deep, whether you see him throw across the middle, in the flat, a seam, whatever, he has very consistent motion. Probably the best in the country overall. He doesn't have as strong as arm as a few of the other kids on this, but rhythm-wise, it's very good, and his timing is so good with it, it just doesn't matter. There's a throw coming up here in a few plays that kind of exemplify when he needs to really step into a throw, he can. That right there is just incredible timing with his receiver. But he finds a way to throw to space and let his athletes go get it. Langston definitely has plenty of those. But right there is an example of why Ohio State went after this kid. He picked the Buckeyes over the Miami Hurricanes and Clemson Tigers. Those were number 2 and 3 for him. This pass right here, I'll kind of end it on this. This is a tremendous throw. That's as good as it gets. He finds a way to make plays that he should make consistently, play after play after play after play. Rhythm. It's just repetitions and want to. I've known him since he was a freshman in high school, playing with Cam Newton's 7-on team, their freshman team, and even his 15-year-old, like, okay, this kid's, he gets it up here. Very intelligent young man. Doesn't have any problem making big plays, whether it's short, intermediate, or long. He doesn't care. To him, every play is a big play because he just wants to execute. Really like what he does with that. So next guy, this is another player that I think is just really important to talk about because it's just the opposite of Mr. Langston Miles, because while I love everything that, I mean, it's kind of hard not to really like Prentiss Air Noland, but this kid kind of came along later. Noland, we all knew as a freshman. Jackson here is a different guy. He played at West Orange last year. He actually just transferred to Jones High School in the middle of Orlando. But look at that nice move. Get in there and score, young man. He developed a really good rhythm this year. He was invited to the Elite 11 finals. He was tremendous when I saw him at the Elite 11 Regional in Orlando. Right there's an NFL-type throw over the outstretched arms of one guy, but in front of the DB and the back end. Great play. This play right here is just funny. You can see the arm strength. Threw the ball about 50 yards or so, and the defense did not knock it down. One-on-one on not how to play that right there by a defensive back. Hitch throws it where only his guy was going to get there. Great job by the receiver. Got to give him props. Trevor's arm strength is good, and watch the consistent motion. He's a pretty darn good passer in terms of release point. That's a similar throw. This is a great angle to watch him make a play. Extends it off balance, but the throwing motion really didn't change and made it happen. So Trevor has not picked a school yet. UCLA recently offered him. I don't know where he's going to go. A lot of us think Pittsburgh, but then UCLA did offer. I haven't heard from him. I sent him a message recently. Great kid. I wish him the best, and I look forward to seeing him this fall. This next player is one that is a little bit different. I want you to see these stats. Look at the ability to make big plays from his feet and his ability to make plays with his legs. Come on, start. There we go. 1,600 some passing yards, but also over 1,400 yards rushing. Off one leg against his body. Look at the distance in the soft toss of the tight spiral. That's incredible. Josh Flowers. Baker High School in Mobile is kind of an exemplary situation because that area per capita, quarterback or otherwise, just produces players. LSU, Alabama, Auburn, Florida State, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, they all focus on that area quite a bit for good reason. Look at these throws. Nobody talks about this kid. Mobile's kind of an outpost. Not a lot of people cover it heavy, but my goodness, look at these moves, man. This is the kind of kid that could end up in the Heisman race one day. He's going to Mississippi State, though. That's the sidebar to this. I want to talk about that a little bit more. May he rest in peace, but Mike Leach and his air raid, you think a traditional pocket passer, put it on the money, 6 to 10 yards at a time, pick you apart. This kid, he can pick you apart, but if you don't pay attention to how many guys are in the box, this happens. He can scoot. One more play for Mr. Flowers. Look at the arm strength again, and look at the accuracy. Man, that is tremendous. So Flowers is kind of the new age quarterback, and I wish him all the best in Mississippi State too. I've never seen him live, but when I was kind of trying to figure out which kids I wanted to talk about, and I watched him, and I'm like, how come I never hear about this kid? And I'm like, oh yeah, he's in Mobile. Mobile just doesn't get the coverage that it overall really deserves. So it is what it is. All right, this next kid is somebody that I've known for quite a while. He actually committed to Florida State before he'd ever even become a starter because the former quarterback at his school, Benedictine in Savannah, had a quarterback sign with Auburn. He had to wait his turn, but he tore it up before his junior year at the Florida State camp, and the rest is history. Big arm. That's one thing I can tell you from seeing him live several times at 7-on-7 events as well as Elite 11. Luke can really zing it. Right there's a great example. When you can make that kind of throw against your body, and here's another one. Oh, he got hammered on that. Not an advisable play to get hammered like that, but you got to give him credit for being gutsy. Steps up. He can run pretty darn good, too. One more play here from Luke. Look at it. Just find a way to get out of that. That's kind of an instinctual deal that you really got to respect. So Kromenhoek is one of those guys that I think will eventually kind of change Florida State's offense. He's going to run some RPO, not denying that. But I think they'll be a little bit more on time, traditional spread, kind of think old school Florida State, early 90s to late 90s, Charlie Ward to Winky, and the ability, if you're going to play cover 3 and just say, you're not going to beat us over the top, he'll take the shots down the field that are that 5 to 12 yard range and pick you apart too. And then when the safeties start looking into the backfield and just trying to find out what he's doing or they make any kind of error, then even though it's not by much, they leave a little bit of an opening. He has the arm strength, even off one arm or off one leg, to drill a pass. He's got some upside to him. And just because I know him and all that, I can tell you they're getting a class kid too. Florida State fans are really going to enjoy Luke. Kind of kid you just want to be around. So that's great. Next up, Jakhari Williams. This is a kid committed, believe it or not, I don't know how this happened. He's committed to Syracuse. How Syracuse got this kid? And look at the arm. He's out of the Macon area. He plays at First Presbyterian. It's a program I certainly don't know anything about, but the film does not lie. Explosive. Flat out, unequivocally explosive. Syracuse fans are going to dig this. I know I would. Holy moly, can he throw? Corner ball. This is a good angle right here. Watch the play action. This is a traditional deep shot. Little underthrown, but he still threw that ball a long way. This is what he does best, though. Extends, changed his arm angle, and just got it to his guy. Somebody was on a complete bust on that one. Needs some refinement here and there, but when you're running around for your life because you got no pass protection, it's get it there however you can. That right there is all arm talent. He didn't even turn his body. Then this, that is the ability to read the play and just take off yourself and be an athlete. Love this because he just threw it to the open area. Just one more play here. Look at the arm strength to make that play happen. So, again, in the South, you just never know. Some of these small schools, whether public or private, that's why you got to go to as many as you can. Macon is right in the middle of the state. Not the biggest city, but they always have players, and that's a great example of it. Next up, this is a player that I know very well, Colin Hurley. Has a huge arm. This throw right here is an example of that. That is a rocket. That wouldn't be advisable for many guys, but he makes that kind of throw pretty commonly. Sometimes his arm, you would think, would get him in trouble, but even when he has a guy in his face, he can just throw it with upper body for the most part because of his arm strength. Nice job right there, getting off that tackle. What Hurley does that really sets him apart from most guys that are primarily pocket passers is the ability to avoid the rush. Like right here, he does a nice job. He's throwing in rhythm. But this next play, if I remember correctly, is a great example of the ability to make somebody miss and then throw. Yep. He moved, saved a little bit of time. What an arm. He plays at Trinity Christian in Jacksonville, Florida. Committed to the LSU Tigers, had offers from across the country. And he actually reclassified from the class of 2025 to 2024. Here's another one where look at that strength in his upper body and his core to make that throw. Miami, Florida State, everybody offered him. I'm not sure who came in second, but he committed to LSU early, and he could make all the throws. The underneath stuff where you throw it on a line, over the linebacker, in front of the safety, and then the deep moonshot, he can do it. Most impressively, though, when he was a freshman, I saw him make a throw when I was in the end zone filming him over the linebacker and in between the two safeties, about 5 feet right in front of me. He dropped one in. That was a touchdown, and that was before he gained all this arm strength. He had already advanced mentally enough to know when to do that. So, obviously, Hurley is a special, special player. LSU's getting a football player that I think will eventually end up being a two-year starter in the SEC. So, great talent. He's a really good kid, too. So, wish Colin all the best. This next kid, KJ Jackson. This is one of those players that's really hard to define without actually seeing him. He has the ability to throw deep. He loves the deep ball. St. James School, Montgomery, Alabama, much like Mobile, doesn't get enough credit. There's Pike Road, there's Catholic, there's St. James School. There's a bunch of different programs around there. Carver, They're all producing talent. More teams need to recruit the greater Montgomery area. Look at that dime. Natural lefty throwing motion. I don't know what it is about lefties, but they generally have a more smooth, easygoing throw. And I just like the way this guy spins it, man. He doesn't even look like he's trying when it comes to throwing deep. He didn't even completely set his feet. And it's just a perfect pass. This young man is headed to play for Arkansas. I'm not sure if it's possible, but like all these guys in Alabama leaving, it's weird to me. Auburn and Alabama didn't get either one of the key quarterbacks in state this year. It is what it is. Julian Sagan's going to Alabama. I get it. And Auburn got an out-of-state quarterback, ironically, from the state of Arkansas. But this kid was right down the road. I wonder how he's going to play against Auburn down there in a year or two when he gets a chance to play. Look at the combination of the smooth delivery and just money ball. One more throw. Nice job, play action. And he had the zip there. That was impressive. If you think about the ability to move the pocket and just at least keep the defense honest, KJ is about as consistent with that as you're going to get. Arkansas got a heck of a player. Next up, this is a guy that has another bazooka, but he also has learned refinement. Cedric Bailey plays at Chaminade Madonna in South Florida. He used to throw just about everything hard, and he's changed his trajectory, his timing, his rhythm. Right there's a nice example. Really good pass. When he has to, he can throw one and just put it on the money. And he is a pretty darn good athlete, too. He's 6'5", 6'6". And he can still run RPO and just take off sometimes, like right here. Good job getting the best out of that play. The thing, again, that he's worked on and done the best, though, is the ability to throw the ball different levels. Level 1 ball means you're just throwing one with a lot of zip, straight in the line. It's that level 2 ball that's so hard. Right here is a good example of that over, but before the safety can come over and help, he can definitely throw the level 3 ball because he's got a cannon. That throw right there is a confidence in your receiver, but he gave him the right time to do it. Another beautiful pass. His accuracy has really improved over the last year or so. And that's why he's going to North Carolina State. Good pass there. The amount that this young man has improved in the last year is just absolutely incredible. That's hilarious right there. One more play for Mr. Cedric Bailey. He's a fun kid to be around, too. Cedric has the arm strength you're looking for. He just needs to fill out a little bit. Being at a program like Chaminade Madonna where they play big-time competition, he's going to go into Power 5 football in the ACC, and I don't think he's going to have to do anything besides like redshirt 1 year like most guys do, and he'll compete. Really good kid. All right. That is pretty much the list. I don't think I got anybody else. So one last note, just kind of overall that I want to talk about here. There are kids all over the South that get overlooked. And I'm going to be doing some of these podcasts where I talk about kids in a sense of what do you have to do to get recognized? Now, some of these guys played 7-on-7, had trainers, different things. But just a little advice, because I get asked this all the time, and I'll probably come back to this a lot. You got to get out there and get your name in camps, smaller ones, whatever, to get people in front of you. So most of these kids did that at some point, and then they worked their way up. They all put in the effort, training when it was 100 degrees, different things. And I saw some of them, like, for instance, Air Noland, when it was super cold, he went to a tournament, didn't care, played just as hard. Cedric Bailey, hot as all get out, tournaments and stuff. He didn't have to go. He's already committed. He competed as hard as he could. Colin Hurley competes every day, goes with the trainer, works and lifts as hard as like offensive linemen. he already had an offer from LSU that he'd accepted. That's the difference, and that's why I'm talking about these kids. If somebody you know or you yourself that are watching this want to make it to that level, what are you sacrificing? That's what these kids did, and that's why I'm talking about them. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up, but please note that we're going to have a bunch of these podcasts talking about prospects, and I'm going to do it by position most of the time, sometimes state, maybe like a group of players, regardless if it's top 5s, top 10 in a state. I'm going to be breaking down a lot of 2025 kids pretty soon too. But I wanted to talk about the 24 group here with quarterbacks because it's such a big deal. Most of the stuff I'm going to be doing is 2025 in general. But I did want to at least give credit to some of these quarterbacks because I get asked about them all the time. Most of the stuff I'm going to do, again, is going to be 2025. But quarterback is so important. I wanted to hit it and get it out there. So most of these young men I expect to play pretty early too. So once again, please like this podcast. Please share it, hit the notification bell, and comment all across CFB Nation. We're going to be adding people. We're going to be doing a lot of different shows. Let me know in the comment section if there's somebody that you want to hear about. God bless. Everybody have a great day.